Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our panel Dr. Mazlan Cik Soh and Encik Muhammad Faiz Ismail. Today, we will present our study on determinant factors of entrepreneurship among youth in UITM Seremban. I am Wano AZUANA ATIKA binti JAMALLUDDin and my friends NURFARAHANA binti Muhammad NOOR. Research background. In recent years, the concept of the innovation and the entrepreneurship have become a common subject of scientific interest among the researchers. Government know that entrepreneurship may contribute to generate economic gains or to create employment sources. This research only focused to the youth in Malaysia, especially students from UITM, because of the largest numbers of alumni and current students that represent the overall youth in Malaysia. The researchers collect the data from UITM Seremban as a sample of the study. Thus, the purpose of this study is to determine the entrepreneurial intention among youth. Problem statement. The entrepreneurship development has been growing steadily in Malaysia. Due to the importance of the entrepreneurial sectors, it has become one of the national agendas in many countries, including Malaysia. Besides, the entrepreneurial education at tertiary level has also become an essential component of many curriculums in private and public higher learning institutions. Moreover, the issue of the unemployment in the local economy amidst current uncertainties in global market demand and economic crisis situation have led to the needs for any society or its community at large to find opportunities in self-employment, including by the youth. This is the table of the research objective and research question. The first research objective is to identify the relationship between the gender and intention to involve in entrepreneurship among youth. The second one is to examine the relationship between the entrepreneurship education, personal attitude, relational supports, and the intention of youth to involve in entrepreneurship. The third one is to examine which the most significant variables affect to the intention of entrepreneurship among youth. So we move to the research question. Is there any relationship between gender and intention to involve in entrepreneurship among youth? What is the relationship between entrepreneurship education, personal attitude, relational supports towards the intention of youth to involve in entrepreneurship? Which variables is the most significant affects the intention of entrepreneurship among youth?
Next is conceptual framework. Independent variable consists of entrepreneurship education, personal attitude, and relational support. The dependent variable is the intention to involve in entrepreneurship.
We move to the main finding tables of our research. Based on the table, most respondents were female, which are 73%. Most of the respondents were 18 to 22 years old, which are 56.3%. As for faculties, most of the respondents came from FSPPP students, which are 66%. Most of the respondents were degree holder, which are 81%. As for semester, most respondents were from semester 6, which are 35.3%. From the data collected, most of the respondents did not involve in entrepreneurship, as the answer for no is 56.3%. However, there are clear results shows that the most respondents have interest to be entrepreneur, as 82.3% of respondents answer for yes. For the question, do you know people around you that involve in entrepreneurship? Most respondents answer for yes, which are 97%. This is the hypothesis testing table. Based on the three research objectives, we separate the variables to analyze with the proper method. We use three methods. The first one is chi-square test, the second one is Pearson correlation, and the third one is multiple regression. As for the first objective, which is to identify the relationship between gender and intention to involve in entrepreneurships, we use the chi-square test method. The result is there is no relationship between gender and intention to involve in entrepreneurships. The second one is we use the Pearson correlation method to examine the relationship between entrepreneurship education and the entrepreneurship intention among youth. R represent the Pearson correlation value and the P represent the sigma value. As for R, the results we get is 0.730. Hence, H1 are accepted and rejected H null. We also use the Pearson correlation to observe the relationship between the personal attitude and the entrepreneurship intention among youth. The results for R value is 0.845. Hence, H2 are accepted and rejected H null. We also use the Pearson correlation to study the relationship between the relational supports and entrepreneurship intention among youth. The results for R is 0.553. Hence, H3 are accepted and rejected H null. As for the last one, we use the multiple regression method to identify the most significant variables that strongly affect to the entrepreneurial intention. We separated by the variables. So the first variables is 0.215, variables 2 0.715, and the last variables is negative 0.055. Based on the beta value, personal attitude is the main factor that increases the entrepreneurial intention among youth in UITM Seremban.
Next is research recommendation. The first recommendation is a supportive business environment. In developing young entrepreneurs, a supportive business environment is needed to ease their business startup. As in the context of youth, it should be started at early stage, as in high school or higher institution. The student might be willingness to start their business, but they do not have a right platform to sell their product. So from our opinion, the institution should provide a platform to the student to promote and sell their product to their customer. The second recommendation is improve entrepreneurship education. From the result, there is a relationship between entrepreneurship education and entrepreneurial intention. So, we believe that any improvement in the entrepreneurship education will give impact to produce more young entrepreneurs. One of the ways to improve is by helping the student to launch their own product. We believe that it is good to enhance the student in creating new products and build up their own business. The teachers and lecturers should be the guidance to them to build the business. Research limitation. The first limitation is limited data collection method. Due to the closing of all universities because of COVID-19, we had to choose convenient sampling technique method for our data collection. It was quite challenging to get the data because we only can share the link of questionnaire through social media. It took a long time for the respondent to answer the question, and it was hard for us to convince them to answer the survey. The next limitation is limited sample size. As our sample size is 357 from the total population of 5,417 of the students from UITM Seremban, we have a challenge to get the sample size to answer the survey. Because of the COVID-19, we have to do the online survey, and to reach all the students is quite challenging, and we cannot get the total of sample size 357. We only get 300 respondents for our study. It consists of 84% of the total sample size. As conclusion, this study was conducted to determine the determining factor of entrepreneurship among youth in UITM Seremban. The results show that all independent variables, which are entrepreneurship education, personal attitude, and relational support, are related to the entrepreneurship intention among youth in UITM Seremban. The most significant factor is personal attitude. The policymaker and authorities in the educational sector should be more active in providing more support to the young entrepreneur. As the most significant factor is personal attitude, it is important to create new strategy to convince the youth to involve in entrepreneurship.